Because it's really hard. It's really hard. It's scary to share our insecurities and our fears and our needs and our soft emotions because we don't want to come across as needy. But our partner can't meet those needs if we don't give them the opportunity.
Get your daily dose of motivation on the Motivational Moments with Michelle podcast. In Motivation with Michelle podcast, you'll get encouraging, uplifting, and life-changing wisdom that will transform your world at your fingertips, 24 hours a day. Get a fuller, deeper revelation of the tools you can implement to see incredible transformation in your life from Michelle Newstetter's powerful teachings. Tune in whenever you need to be edified, uplifted, or a dose of motivation, no matter where you are. Subscribe to Motivational Moments with Michelle podcast with Michelle Newstetter today on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SoundCloud.
Hey there, and welcome to this Wednesday Word of Wisdom. Have you ever thought about how we sometimes use criticism as a way of getting our needs met? Have you also noticed how a lot of those conversations just don't go the way we were hoping? We're left feeling like we weren't heard. We're left feeling maybe even a little bit more pain than we even started with. And we don't feel like we're getting our needs met, and nothing ever changes. When we want something to be different, we have to do the conversation differently. We have to be willing to ask for our needs to be met. Turn those criticisms, turn those complaints into a gentle request for a positive need. I find often that, in the heat of an argument, it tends to be easier to complain or to criticize all the things that we see that aren't going the way we want, that we would like to see changed, that are driving us nuts. We'll say things like, "You're never around, you're neglecting me," rather than saying something like, "I feel lonely, I miss you, I feel disconnected, and I really need your attention." The problem with expressing our needs in that negative way is that it comes off as criticism. And when anybody feels criticized, they immediately jump to the defense. And that's because they feel like they have to protect themselves. They feel like it's dangerous and that the things that are being shared aren't fair. And it kind of blocks any possibility of resolution. No matter how close a relationship is, how good a relationship is, it's nearly impossible not to find yourself in a state of defense mode when you feel criticized. It basically becomes impossible to not see the criticism as a personal attack and not get defensive. Then when we share those softer emotions, when we share what we need, and when we ask in a way that makes it a we thing, not a you thing, I find that people are a lot more receptive. And those types of conversations can be resolved and can come up with solutions. Our big emotions are telling us something, right? They do help us interpret our world. Not always accurately, but they do help us interpret our world. And they tell us a little bit about what we need, what lines have been crossed, are there boundaries that need to be set. And then there's a need there, right? Sometimes hidden under something like anger, frustration, or annoyance is loneliness or hurt or, feelings of rejection or that kind of thing, that if we can share that and we can share what we need in that space and how we can work together, our partner's heart is going to open to us. Even in the research done by Dr. John Gottman, he talked about how partners need to connect. They need to sort of attune to one another. They need to be in sync and build this sense of regard and affection for the other person in order to do any problem solving because we're not in a state of even wanting to problem solve. He even said that one of the big things he noticed in his research was when the couples that were the most successful in their conversations, they were able to shift their criticisms into wishes. I mean, speaking things like our fears, our emotions, especially those soft ones, they're really hard. They cause us to go into this really vulnerable space, which is really scary, and we don't necessarily always know if our partner is going to hold that space for us, which is why we tend to jump into the criticism place, because we feel like, oh, they're going to listen to me, because we know that when we do that, this dialogue starts to happen, this back and forth. It's not a good dialogue, it's not positive, but we know that they're hearing us. And when we have to go to that vulnerable space, we feel it's almost like a sign of weakness, and we don't want to feel weak. So we find it's just easier to shut that off. And to shut that off, I've got to go to one of my harder emotions. And in that's where I go into that like critical space. Because I mean, it's really hard. It's really hard. It's scary to share our insecurities and our fears and our needs and our soft emotions, because we don't want to come across as needy. But our partner can't meet those needs if we don't give them the opportunity. And we don't have to wait for conflict to happen in order to express our needs. We can practice it every single day. We can express our needs, our wants, our wishes in a positive way. But you can only control you, and you only have responsibility for you. So you can't expect your partner to respond a certain way or to ask for their needs. What you can do is model the way by doing it yourself. You get the option to acknowledge and validate and empathize with and understand your partner so that they can feel heard and acknowledged and appreciated and valued and loved. And you can show the way by asking for your needs rather than criticizing. And you can be the difference in your relationship, the difference that you want to see. There's a big difference between criticizing to get what you want and actually getting what you want. And so when we can start to tweak things and learn how to do them just slightly differently, it can make all the difference in the world. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you have an amazing Wednesday. Bye for now.
Do you want to reignite the spark in your relationship?
How can you be more fearless?
How can you anchor yourself to the truths you know, but you aren't living out?
Fearlessly Anchored Marriages is a program that will teach you to live love intentionally. Anything you want in life does not come accidentally.
So why would your relationship be any different?
Over the next 12 weeks, you will be exposed to some of the mindset blocks that could interfere with your current relationship. You will be coached to learn how to set boundaries, how to recognize opportunities, how to develop self-awareness, how to lead yourself and lead your relationship.
We've all been there. The struggle is real. We want to feel connected, heard, valued, and loved. Join us in transforming your relationship. Reignite the flame.
Reconnect. Refresh.
Fearlessly
Anchored Marriages. Let's live love
intentionally.